today, welcome to another edition of Spotlight on Brewster Schools. Eric Royce, your host, along with Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Valerie Henning-Piedmont. And Val, good seeing you on a glorious summer's day in autumn in Putnam County.
It is a glorious day, Eric. Always great to see you, and always a good day to talk about our Brewster School District.
Well, we talk about summer because this past summer, the last month of the summer season, some Brewster High School students experienced some incredible endeavors, meeting with Senator Schumer, traveling to Boise State, and one young man even traveled to see the eclipse firsthand through NASA.
That's incredible. These young people are having amazing experiences that are transformational. I mean, you could talk about either one of them. I mean, Chris's experience in NASA. I mean, how many young people can actually, boast about that as being a part of their experience while they're in high school? Matt and Pete, had a great year or a great summer, in a leadership camp, learning and applying their skills, and they're such wonderful young people, and I know they're planning now, because they both are seniors, planning for their colleges. I think Matt's entertaining a teaching career, which is really amazing, and it would make sense if you met him. And obviously, our Victor Diaz, had a great experience this summer being a page for Senator Schumer, getting to know other students. And actually what was really interesting in his interview with you that was in the Putnam Courier, he mentioned that the press doesn't represent the actual conflicts, in a way that's really realistic. That really he saw the senators on both sides, the Democrats and the Republicans, having lunch together, being, amicable toward each other. And I thought that was a very good reflection for him to have from that experience.
So let's go back and say hi to the four young men right here. Brewster School District, some of our outstanding seniors. Let's take a look-see. Well, Matt Scipione and Peter Arnold had quite a summer to remember. They represented the Brewster School District at Boise State. Boise State, upstate New York. What is Boise State, Matt?
Well, we kind of learned about the basics of government, how things are run, different elected positions, the different branches, and how to go about partaking in government business.
Peter, how were you chosen?
Well, we were selected because they were looking at students in the high school who were involved in both ROTC and Boy Scouts, and both of us fit that criteria.
It must have made you feel great because these two gentlemen over here were the first two students from Brewster High to be selected for Boise State since 2010. Quite an honor.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about it when I heard about it.
Was it a rigorous couple of weeks up there?
Yeah, I would say so. There were Marines at the Morrisville campus. We did PT every morning. We learned drill, but because we were both in ROTC, it was pretty easy for the drill. The government stuff was interesting to learn about. We had a pretty full schedule throughout the day.
And we understand each one of you gentlemen had a certain position. You were elected for some office?
Well, yeah, actually, I was in the band up there, and as a member of the band, a lot of times that conflicted, band practice conflicted with other meetings. So my main role was being a member of the band, but I was still able to vote and participate that way.
And my friend Matt, you were some big shot, I understand.
Yeah.
President or something, a governor?
No, I was, because they organized you into 3 different levels of government, city, county, and then the entire Boise State. I was elected the Justice of the Traffic Court for my city of Baker. The city I was
Any speeders come through town?
No, we weren't really allowed to leave campus or go on any of the roads, so I had a pretty easy job.
What did a Justice of the Peace do?
Well, we made sure that we were safe in parking lots. We didn't get hit by any cars or anything like that, and that was a good thing. We kind of just made sure, if we were going to go onto any roadways, we were safe, and if there was any violations, if someone, stepped out and, ran in front of a car in a parking lot, they'd have to be brought up against charges again to the court, and I'd be the judge of that.
Would you guys encourage other young men next summer to get involved with Boise State?
Yeah.
Good experience.
I would definitely do it again if I could. Yeah.
Only one time though.
Yeah.
One shot.
I liked it though. It was a great
good,
time.
good.
I would recommend it.
Okay, well, you heard it from the men themselves,
Yeah.
Matt and Peter. Brewster High's representatives at Boys State, the 2017 class, the first two students from Brewster in 7 years. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Val and I will be right back. Another one of the members of the class of 2018 here at Brewster High, Chris McCarthy, had quite a summer to remember. He did some research with NASA, the National Space Administration. How did you all come about?
So this started through a camp that I went to. This was actually my third year going to the camp. It started 3 years ago with my sister when she actually got a scholarship through the school to go, and my parents thought that it'd be good for us both to go. And so after she went, she had already graduated, and so I wanted to go back afterwards. And after my second year there, I received an email after finishing the camp for the week that I was invited to the elite space camp version of it, which was a longer, more immersive experience. And they had previously done it for many years, but this year, or the year that I was invited to, was unique because it was going to be during the week of the total eclipse, the Great American Eclipse. And I thought that was really interesting, and so I mean, I had known about it for a while, and I had always wanted to go, except it wasn't passing through New York. So this, I found, was an amazing opportunity to go. So once, about 3 months or so before the camp started, we received an email from Dr. Mitzi Adams, who works for NASA, that we could do research with NASA should we choose to accept the responsibilities and those kinds of things. And so over the course of the 3 months or so before the camp, I was involved in video conferences and interviews, and I had to read a whole bunch of PowerPoints and lectures and everything on the research. And when we finally got to camp, we got to camp about 2 days before the eclipse, and we drove up to Austin Peay University in Clarksville, Tennessee, which is where the whole camp was going to be based. Except I was lucky enough to be part of a 3 camper group, me, my friend Michaela, and one other student, and we were able to go actually to Hopkinsville, Kentucky, which was the epicenter of the total eclipse. It's actually pretty funny. They renamed the town Eclipseville for the day, which I thought was kind of unique. And while I was up there, the 3 of us did research with Professor Gallagher, who also works for NASA and Marshall Space Flight Center, on VLF, which is very low frequency. Essentially, it's a natural form of frequency that occurs from things like thunderstorms and wind passing through. And what we wanted to see was, like, during the night, the ionosphere of the atmosphere drops down lower and allows these radio waves, because they're losing energy as they're going up, since it's lower, they have more energy and they're able to pass through, and they follow the Earth's magnetic field around it, and it creates cool sound effects. Like they're called whistlers, and I mean, I can't do it. Professor Gallagher can do it great, but I can't really do it. And what we wanted to see was during the eclipse if this would also happen. And so we had a whole setup, and actually a couple college students were there also from Austin Peay University, and we were listening to natural radio waves, the VLF, during the eclipse as it was actually happening. And we were doing a couple other things. We were looking at, they're called shadow bands, which occur when the eclipse happens. We were taking a whole bunch of pictures for NASA, everything like that. And it was just a really amazing experience overall. I mean, it was once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me, I think. And I mean, it was just amazing.
What's your future now? Do you want to get involved in this field?
Yeah, so right now my intended major is aerospace engineering, which is the building of the rockets and the airplanes and everything that we send up into space. And so I just like the whole aerospace and outer rim, like going into space, that's kind of what I've been interested in for a really long time. And especially now, I've taken 3 years of physics, and I've taken a whole bunch of science courses. I've taken engineering courses over the summer. I've been to all of that kind of stuff, and it's really just, it's all culminated into going to the camps and everything like that. And it's really just what I want to end up doing, is working for a company like NASA or SpaceX, Blue Origin, anything like that, yeah.
Guaranteed. You heard it first right here. Christopher McCarthy. You're going to see his name in lights someday when it comes to NASA. What an experience. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. Victor Diaz, a senior at Brewster High, had a summer to remember. The reason I say that, he was in Washington all summer, a page for U.S. Senator Charles Schumer. Victor, welcome back to school. How was that experience?
Well, it was amazing. Nothing could really describe it in words. I've always had a fascination for politics, and being in the epicenter of the legislative branch, working for the Senate, it was amazing. There's so many things that I did, so many people that I met, and so many senators that I saw there, and all debate, everything. It was just definitely, like you said, a summer to remember by all means.
Did you have any interaction with Senator Schumer?
There wasn't real interaction with most of the senators, but there was time to time where they would come up to us and say hi. We would have a little chat in the subway, in between Senate buildings, on the Capitol floor. Sometimes senators, including Senator Schumer himself, would come up and talk to us pages. It was we couldn't really go up to them, but they would usually come up to us and greet us and talk to us about stuff that's going on in the Senate, or just everyday life stuff, which was really cool.
Is Washington government as messed up as it looks, as it appears in the media? Or is it a little different from a guy who's been inside?
I think when I was there, one of the senators that said, one of the quotes they said was that all the senators there are friends with each other. And the media portrays that a little differently. You always see that little conflict between Republican senators, Democratic senators. But when I was there, all of them were friends. They would talk to each other. They would talk across the aisle. I mean, they would invite each other to dinner on often occasions. I mean, the media, I think, portrays it a little bit more nasty. But there is a certain divide. And, yeah, there is, policy differences. And when it comes to voting, yeah, they do separate. But in the end, they're friends with each other. There's Republican friends with Democrats and Democratic people with Republican friends. I don't think it's as nasty as what the media says, not even close.
Did you meet any young men, ladies and gentlemen, pages like yourself, begin new friendships?
Oh, that's definitely true. There were people all the way from Montana to Long Island, New York here that made a friendship. And there was also other people from close in Washington, D.C., all the way to people who had a friendship in California. I mean, the differences. There were so many people that made so many new friendships. I made friendships with people from Missouri to Washington State, all the way to down in D.C. that I know, and also close here in New York as well. So it was a lot of people made a lot of friendships. It was really cool.
As we told our viewers, our friend Victor is a senior this year at Brewster High. What's the future for Victor? You want to get involved in politics someday?
Yeah, that's what I've had in my mind ever since freshman year. I've always loved politics. It's kind of my ambition per se. When I go out of high school and into college, I want to study political science. I want to complete that field of study, and whatever else is needed. I want that and communications. Probably do a double major, or maybe even a master in political science. I definitely want to go in that way per se. Yeah, I want to go in that field.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Victor Diaz, one of the shining stars here at Brewster High School, with his Summer to Remember, a page for U.S. Senator Charles Schumer. Val and I will be right back. Well, Val had an experience the other day, along with other superintendents of schools and members of the Brewster Board of Education. One of the most unique experiences, I'll say, in the history of Putnam County. We talked about an active shooter situation on a shooting range right here in Southeast. And Mike Szabo, who's the SRO coordinator for the Sheriff's Department and a certified shooting instructor, invited the superintendents along to learn firsthand. What went through your mind that day?
You know what, my takeaway from that was, I'm so glad we have SROs. You know, when there's an active shooter situation, you don't want someone who's not been trained. And being on that range to see the extent of the training, the precision of the use of the weapons and how the weapons are held when they're not being used, and all of the security measures just really it sent a strong message to me about the importance of us having SROs. I mean, we're kind of remote in terms of our distance from a place that we could go and get help. So we were really kind of, contained here if something were to happen. So having our, wonderful SROs are, it's just, that adventure, that training session was really a reminder of how, fortunate we are that our community supports them and that our Board of Education supports them, and that they take their training seriously, and we want them around.
And as Sheriff Don Smith said during that little gathering, he was talking about the Brewster schools, how the Brewster schools have really bought into that whole philosophy, that Brewster has 3 SROs. No other district has that.
And you know what? And they are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
They are an extraordinary, professionals. We can count on them. They not only are here, in terms of just their physical presence and safety, but they're here to help, our children, to work with them, to work with their families, and they're just a great support. So I would, I without a doubt, I don't see us ever, stepping away from our SRO program, because it is so vital to our school district, and it's an assurance when our families drive past and they see our officers' cars in the parking lot. I think that sends a very strong message, and what we can't measure, Eric, is the deterrent as a result of having the cars in the parking lot, where anyone driving by, anyone who has a sinister motive, they're going to think twice when they see those cars. And so we're just very fortunate, and as I said, that training session really helped me to appreciate the level of training that they receive and how that's vital to them in their roles.
Why don't you give a shout out to the 3 SROs in the Brewster School
Our
District?
wonderful 3 SROs. We have Deputy Mike Nooner, who is working in both the City Star and the H.H. Wells Middle School, because they're connected. Matt Krisky, who's the SRO for Brewster High School, and our newest member, Brian Supa, who's the SRO for JFK Elementary School.
Okay, guys, they do a great job and keep the school safe, and they also interact so well.
They're wonderful.
With students, with faculty, with staff.
You know what? If I need to call any one of them, and I can, and I do,
Yeah.
I pick up the phone and call and ask about something, or when I pass by them, when they're in their roles, I stop by and say hello. I mean, they're just really a great part of our community. I mean, I see them like I see a teacher.
Okay, well, guys, keep up the good work. Talking about keeping up the good work, Frank Lamort is one of the shining stars in the Brewster School District. Frank, of course, is a 4th grade teacher over at the CV Stars School. And each year, Frank comes up with all kinds of unusual ideas and projects. And this year, he called it Mindset. Mindset is a book by Carol Dweck, a book how to fulfill one's potential by understanding the difference between a fixed and growth mindset. Wow.
And you know what? Frank took this even further than any of us would have imagined. I mean, this started as a book study about 2 years ago. And I imagine that this is his 2nd year doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That in his building there was a book study organized, I believe, by teachers and Dr. Young there. And he went well above what anyone would expect, that he took that book, because it was so important, into his classroom and started using it as one of the texts for instruction. So when you walk in and see his students talking about the difference between, them, how they identify themselves, whether they are, see themselves as having a fixed mindset where, you can't learn it, it's, you're born with intelligence and there's really not a lot you can do, or a growth mindset, which is all about, effort can, increase your ability to do something, and, and having that open mindset, or, that growth mindset, helps you to take on challenges and to see even failure as being a part of success. So I think it's marvelous that he's doing this.
We stopped off at the school, said hi to Frank and some of the students. Take a look-see. One of our 4th grade teachers is Frank Lamort here at the CV Star School. And Frank, good seeing you again.
Good to see you too.
Good summer?
Excellent summer.
Something special happened in your life, I understand.
Oh yeah, I got married this summer.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Exciting summer. The best ever.
The best ever.
Yes.
Your bride would hope you say that.
Definitely.
We're here with Frank because there's a new project that Frank is working on with his students called Mindset, the new psychology of success. What's Mindset?
Okay, so basically a couple of years ago, we were introduced to this book, Mindset. And after reading it, I was pretty inspired. I didn't realize that so many of us, not only children but adults, have both a growth and fixed mindset. And we want to be more or have more of a growth mindset. And I was inspired by the book, so I basically summarized it for my students, and I did a presentation on it with my partner, Michelle Marziotti. And then my students became inspired. They really saw the difference between someone with a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and how the growth mindset, if you have that, you can really reach your potential. And if you have more of a fixed mindset, you're pretty much going to stay status quo, if not maybe even decline in reaching your potential. And the potential could be academic, it could be athletic, any hobby that you're interested in. So what has transpired last year and this year is that students now, because of they've been inspired by the book, are actually making their own slideshows, and they're visiting other classrooms in the building, trying to spread the word about this fixed and growth mindset, and how let's start off the year on a positive foot. Let's recognize that fixed and growth mindset, and let's build towards that growth mindset. And they feel that it's very important to do that in the beginning of the year, because it kind of sets the tone for the remaining of the year, especially when work gets challenging and bumps in the road come up. And so we're here.
Well, perhaps this can be expanded on the national level as well. That would help some of the situations around the country.
Yes, definitely. It's really about perseverance, 21st century skills. Just not giving up. Not giving up when someone with a growth mindset is someone who seeks out challenges, someone that's not afraid to fail, someone who looks up to others, really that perseverance, putting forth the extra effort. And, you can really reach your potential in really any area. And that fixed mindset, just having that feeling that you're either born great at something or not, or feeling threatened if someone rises to an occasion, is really something that we want to suppress. But we also did spread, to students that even as adults, there are times that we all have a fixed mindset. And that's fine. We just want to be able to work through that and maybe change our feelings. Say, you know what? I don't understand that yet, but I'm willing to put forth the effort to get there. So that's the message.
Let's meet some of the young people right now on Spotlight on Brewster Schools.
Growth and Fixed Mindset by Ava Medina and James Munoz. Growth mindset. A growth mindset is where you believe in yourself and you are willing to put forth extra effort. For example, I can do it and I am not there yet, but I will get there.
Fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is when you don't believe in yourself, aren't willing to put extra effort, and is the opposite of a growth mindset. I can't do it. I'm not good at it.
Growth and Fixed Mindset. What kind of mindset do you have? Growth mindset. I can learn anything I want to. When I'm frustrated, I persevere. I want to challenge myself. When I fail, I learn. Tell me I try hard. If you succeed, I'm inspired. My effort and attitude determine everything.
Fixed mindset. I'm either good at it or I'm not. When I'm frustrated, I give up. I don't like to be challenged. When I fail, I'm no good. Tell me I'm smart. If you succeed, I feel threatened. My abilities determine everything. Hope you enjoy our slideshow.
Growth versus Fixed Mindset by Charlie Valzilla
And Jested. A fixed mindset is the idea that you cannot do anything a little more challenging than your comfort zone. So you basically think that your talent and intelligence cannot improve in any way. Example, I hate ELA and I am not good at it, so I will never like or become good at ELA. If you have a fixed mindset, you sound somewhat like this. You give up easily, you don't give effort, you get discouraged by mistakes, and you don't set goals for yourself. So please, have a growth mindset.
Growth mindset. What is a growth mindset? A growth mindset is a person who gives 100% effort and goes for a challenge, even though they might fail. They take risks and set goals for themselves and work hard to achieve it. A person with a growth mindset would say, I can't do it yet, but if I practice, I will be able to someday. The end. Hope you liked our presentation.
Very good.
Well, since we're at CV Star, one of the new shining stars in the Brewster School District is Karen Kellogg, who changed her career to become an educator.
Well, you know what? I'm so happy that she did, because she's an amazing professional. She joined us over the summer. She was available for all of the professional learning that we did as leadership team.
Yeah.
She was able to go off and work with teachers, you know, for our ruler program, which is our social emotional program. So she's been a critical, you know, leader around that work, as well as our Project Lead the Way STEM program. So she's only been here for a few months, but she's, you know, already, you know, embedded herself, and we were, you know, very fortunate to, you know, to have her apply. I mean, I met her before I actually knew her. I presented at a Lower Hudson Council of Women in Education meeting. I was invited. I didn't know her at the time. She was there, and she heard about I was talking about our strategic coherence plan, and she said that caught my attention. I was looking for a change and looking for a district that could, you know, keep me excited about, you know, learning and growing and leading, and that's how she came to apply.
As Karen will tell us, she followed her heart to Brewster.
She did.
Good morning, Karen. Well, the revolving door has ended at CV Star. We're here with Karen Kellogg, the new assistant principal of the school, and welcome to Brewster. It's been quite a whirlwind here at the school the last couple of months, but Karen's here in full force. And how your first impressions have been of the school?
Oh my goodness, I have to say, I can't say enough, Eric, about the school and the community. Everyone is just fabulous, very warm and welcoming, very dedicated, and all about the work of the Strategic Coherence Plan and preparing our students for the 21st century.
Who is Karen Kellogg?
Oh, thank you. Karen Kellogg is a person who loves children, who followed her heart a little later in life. I'm a second career educator, but I had the opportunity to go back to school to become a teacher, and I've taught for 11 years and moved up the ranks in various capacities in other districts, and am so happy to be here at the Brewster Central School District.
What did you hear about Brewster schools in these other districts? People tell me that Brewster has a great reputation, be it in Putnam County or Westchester County or Dutchess County, you name it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've heard that there is a connectivity amongst the staff, that there's such dedication and professionalism here, that the families are wonderful. We have a great student body, and very committed to really serving our students well and preparing them in the 21st century with the strategic coherence plan goals. The strategic coherence plan is really what brought me and attracted me to Brewster. I love the idea of helping children to become critical thinkers, to be better collaborators, to communicate better. They're adaptable. They use the skills of perseverance, which is very needed not only in schools but in the world of work. And I can attest to that firsthand. And just their civic responsibility, their attention to one another and caring for one another, those soft skills that are so important in today's world.
Wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I couldn't be more thrilled.
Karen Kellogg, the new assistant principal here at CV Star.
Thank you.
Val and I will be right back. The new addition is open here at the CV Star School, and Karen is with us, the assistant principal of the school. Karen, 6 classrooms, 4 general ed. It's the lightness, the freshness, the brightness. It's amazing.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful, and the teachers and the students are just thrilled. One student said that she was so excited. She said, "Mommy," when she came home, and I got to be in the new classroom. It was as if it were for her, just for her. It's just incredible. It's state of the art, and the amount of work and the efficiency of the work that was done here was just very impressive. Everyone is so excited.
And of course, there'll be a ribbon cutting the night of the Board of Education meeting in October.
Absolutely, and we're really thrilled and looking forward to that as well. And you can get a glimpse into the classroom if you'd like.
We'd like to do that. I know you want to thank the community of Brewster for supporting education, for passing that bond a number of years ago, which allowed for the wonderful addition here, the work at JFK as well.
Yes, transforming JFK into practically a brand new school. Amazing. Such a supportive community. As I mentioned before, that is one of the hallmarks of Brewster. The families and the people here are just amazing.
Let's take a look at the classroom.
Absolutely.
On one of those recent hot Sundays, with the temperature in the upper 80s and 90s, there was Daria Pascal on the tennis courts, along with some students and adults, raising money for the Brewster Fire Department. What a great, great endeavor.
Well, and that's, if you know Daria, that's right up her alley. I know she's always looking for ways for children not just to be involved in the, an athletic or sport, but to find opportunities to develop their sportsmanship, their sense of community and giving back and being a part of a larger team. So this is exactly what I would expect for her to do. And it's not just this, but she does that, throughout. And of course, at Wells, the faculty, the staff, and the students there are just always giving and generous.
Yes.
So I completely am not surprised by this, and I think that this is just one more way in which we show students that it's not just enough to be an athlete, but then you have to think about the larger community and what you can do to make it better.
Well, the Brewster Fire Department, by the way, has initiated a campaign to raise $30,000, allowing the local fire service to purchase mechanical CPR machines. And that one day, the kids raise over $1,000 to go towards that, which was really remarkable on that hot Sunday. So, good job, guys.
Absolutely.
Ladies, gentlemen, Daria?
Absolutely. All the students who were involved, thank you for your time, and thank you for being the students that we hope you become. You're on your way to becoming those young people.
We talked about Henry Wells a month or two ago, the Henry Wells Middle School. When they rededicated the school in his memory, a recognition's coming up in the next day or two at the Mid-Hudson, what do they call it here? The Mid-Hudson, the Greater Hudson Heritage Council. And I found something out phenomenal, very interesting. Henry Wells, we all know he was a former mayor. He was the last surviving American of the Spanish-American War. He was involved with the Brewster School District, but a member of the Brewster School Board. Take a guess, how many years?
How about 30 years?
Close, very good. 1927 to 1958, Henry Wells was on the Brewster School Board.
That's incredible.
That is incredible.
That's probably the longest serving board member.
Oh, has to have been, yeah, has to have been.
That's incredible. I mean, and what he, I'm sure, contributed to the school community.
Yes.
And you can understand, I mean, his love for the community, his love for education, and his model is just an all-around great community member.
Well, there was that Man with the Flag mural that's on the wall at the Henry Wells Middle School. And coming up on the 10th of the month, the Henry Wells Middle School is being recognized, along with the Southeast Museum and the Putnam Historical Society, for putting that together.
Yeah, it's an amazing, recognition, commemoration, celebration, and for the Greater Hudson Council, Heritage Council, to also see that as as a way to for the memory of someone who's contributed so much to be permanently installed there was something that we didn't have to do. But it's in recognition of the importance of maintaining our critical history and letting our students know, because as we know, that installation is right next to the main office doorway. So every student, every parent, every educator who walks through there is going to look at that panel.
We stopped by the middle school, talked to John Clark, who's going to be going up with Christian DeJesus to receive the recognition. Let's go back and take a look. Henry Wells Middle School, the Man with the Flag. Last month, if you recollect, we had a wonderful ceremony here at the school when family and friends of the late Henry Wells visited. The Man with the Flag was unveiled, this mural behind us here in the main lobby. Henry Wells, of course, a former Brewster School trustee, a former mayor, wonderful, wonderful man, the last surviving veteran of the Spanish-American War. John Clark, principal of the school, we understand that this Man with the Flag is getting statewide recognition at Bard College.
It is, yeah. So we were invited by the Greater Hudson Heritage Network to be awarded and recognized for our collaboration with the Putnam Historical Society. It came as a surprise to us. We had a large ceremony here last year where we had, or last couple weeks ago, with the family of H.H. Wells. People from his family came all the way up from Virginia, from North Carolina. So it was a very it was, the turnout was amazing. We had the sheriff was here, several important members from the legislature were here, district-wide representation. So it turned into this real celebration of H.H. Wells. And for me as a principal, I just thought it was such a wonderful thing because, you know, I've been coming to this building for 17 years, this building called H.H. Wells, and I learned so much about the man that I really didn't know, even having worked here for so long. And it was just a tremendous honor to understand why this man was so important to this community.
We also want to thank Amy Campanero from the Southeast Museum. We want to thank Christian DeJesus, the assistant principal here at the school, for also coordinating this.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just such a team effort to pull this together, and there were so many people that wanted to honor this man who really was a selfless person who spent his life honoring others. So it was quite a tribute to his life and to what he has left us with. And it's something that we're very proud, and I'm honored to know so much more about him than I did.
And as we said a couple of weeks back, the mural is right up here on the wall at the Henry Wells Middle School. Next time you visit, check it out. Henry H. Wells, the man with the flag. The Brewster School is now being recognized statewide at the gathering at Bard College coming up in October. Thanks for joining us. The Brewster High School Democratic Congress is in the news these days. They're having a special symposium coming up on October 12th to deal with the issue of racism, something that's near and dear to the heart of everyone in the Brewster School District.
Well, the issue was sort of catapulted as a result of an incident that occurred this summer where a few young people who graduated from the district, exercised very poor judgment. And that, resurrected a lot of feelings in a lot of people about, whether, we are a community that is, embraces everyone and makes everyone, feel as though they belong and they're a contributing member. And so our high school students really took this to heart. I mean, I received many emails myself, from them, and I still do, about, how they want to improve this, how they want to change any negative perceptions that the community might have about our school district and, most importantly, our high school. So Democratic Congress has always been an activist group. I mean, they really exemplify what it means to be engaged in civic, responsibility. So they've organized this. They work with Ms. Hoyler, the high school principal, to come up with this day where children have an opportunity to have civil conversations and discourse about racism, bigotry, religious intolerance, prejudice, and find out ways that they can actually change the environment in the high school and the community. So that's a fabulous thing that we would expect, and hope that every school district and every high school would see their students doing.
We stopped by at the high school and talked to the officers of the club, Ying Zhang, who's the co-president of the Congress, Julia Villani, who's secretary, and Aaron Lauren, vice president. Let's go back and check it out. The Democratic Congress Convention takes place later this month. With me is Nikki Haller, the principal of Brewster High. And Nikki, why is this so important during these difficult times to have the convention like this at Brewster?
So earlier in the summer, we had 4 students make a video that went viral. It was a racist video that went viral. And for us, this convention is our students' reaction and response to how to fix a problem that is innate in the building and in society right now.
Now, this convention is open to the entire school. Is that it? The community has it?
It's open to the students themselves. It's student-run, student-populated, student-driven.
Okay. Nikki will be right back. We're going to talk to some of the students right now. We have Ying Zhang, who's the president of the organization. We have Aaron Lauren, the vice president, and my friend Julia Villani, who's the secretary. Julia, we'll start with you. What preparation went into this?
A lot of preparation. We've had a lot of meetings, emailing back and forth. We had to schedule to just get the space first, and then we really thought about a lot of questions that should be brought up at the convention and how we can really have kids leaving feeling more connected and understanding in this community. So.
What does this mean to you being the president of an organization like this?
I think this convention is one of our first major events that we're having this year, and I think it's a great way for us to be more visible within the community and let the students know that we want them to participate. We want to address these concerns that mean so much to us as a community, and we want to let students know that they make a difference.
What about you, Aaron?
I think that it's really important that, especially because most students aren't really aware of what the demo board is, that we show them that our goals are what many of their goals are. And we really show that we want more empathy and compassion in our community, and show students that there's a way that that can happen. Because most people don't really realize that there are tangible steps they can take to help their community out.
Hopefully, Nikki, coming from the students themselves, this will have so much more of an impact than it will if you or another administrator lectures to young people.
Absolutely. When earlier we met, and Demo Congress is our governing board here at the high school. When we first met, it was very clear that it couldn't be adult-driven. It had to be student-driven all the way, because how we see the problem is not necessarily how they see the problem.
Okay, so the Democratic Congress Convention will take place in October. We'll be there for that day as well and report later on an upcoming show how things went. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Improving campus culture is so important in this 21st century education. And students in the Brewster School have the opportunity to hear from a Canadian guy from Canada, Blake Fly, who came down and put on quite a performance.
Well, it's one of the first assemblies that was organized by the PBIS team, and PBIS stands for Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports, which is a way in which a school district, or high school or middle school or intermediate school, whichever school, actually articulates the expectations for how children behave toward each other and what norms we expect them to uphold. So the way in which the high school kicked off their year was this first of a number of assemblies for students to actually hear from motivational speakers about how to be good citizens, how to make personal connections, which was Blake's focus, how to let people know that you care about them without spending a lot of time or getting to know them deeply, but just the normal everyday things that you can do, and that was really critical for students to see that and to know about that, know that that's very important as they are members of communities, that they have a responsibility in making sure that they are cordial and welcoming and respectful to all.
And as Blake said, we're going to focus on what matters. Let's go back and say hi. Well, it's been a highlight of the new school year, and the new school year is just a couple of weeks old. Nikki Hall, the principal here at Brewster High, special guest Blake Fly. Nikki, how did we arrange to get this handsome guy over here, Blake Fly, to visit Putnam County?
Sure. For the last 2 years, we have a PBIS committee, Positive Behavioral Intervention Services. And we're focused on CARES, Brewster CARES, so we're focusing on compassion, accountability, being ready to learn, engagement, and being safe. So we're looking for engaging speakers who could deliver a message that really hits home to our students and hopefully changes the behavior in the long run.
And this guy hit home to the students. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
The kids were bopping in the aisles over here, freshmen, juniors, seniors, sophomores. What's the message you bring?
The main message is friendship. I basically remind students that any of their best friends today, once upon a time, was just a hello. And so reminding students how to engage with each other and say hello and form friendships, and then not only form them, but keep the relationships by teaching them ways to acknowledge and recognize one another in ways that are actionable and sincere, so that when they get to graduation, they feel like, it's not over. It's, I appreciated everything and everyone along the way. So it's just helping them make the most by doing these simple practices on a daily basis.
And Blake really had the audience going.
100%. We had kids in tears. We had kids participating, clapping. It was fantastic.
How did you learn all of these different little skits and activities to get the kids in tune?
A few things. Teachers. I had amazing teachers, so I just modeled what they did. Also, my mom's a teacher, so she dragged me out to a bunch of choir practices as a kid. And also is just thinking about what makes people feel comfortable, because I know that when they see a speaker on a stage, if you're a high school student, you're thinking, what the heck is this going to be about? So I need to quickly figure out ways to drop my guard so that the students do the same.
Now, Blake Fly grew up where?
Toronto, Ontario in Canada.
Ah, you live in the States now, or you're still a Canadian?
Still a Canadian, traveled to the States for work, and it's awesome to be here.
Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much for having me.
Blake Fly, as I said, one of the great programs in the Brewster schools so early in the school year. We'll be right back. We have a couple of ribbon cuttings. Those scissors are getting kind of dull. There was a ribbon cutting the other night when they opened up the new concession stand. More ribbon cuttings down the road.
A lot of great times for celebration in the district,
Yes.
as you know. So, as you said, we recently had the concession stand ribbon cutting, which I want to thank the Brewster Sports Foundation and all of the community members who use our fields and properties. They've been advocating this for the longest, and it's because of their advocacy that when we actually put forth the bond, that the concession building was part of that. So it's really wonderful that that's
We'll have some
happening.
footage on it on the next show as well.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and so that we're so proud of that. So the other two ribbon cuttings involve the rededication for the CV Star Intermediate School. There were 4 additional classrooms,
Right.
plus obviously air added for the first time. So that's going to occur on October 10th at 5:30 in CV Star. We're actually going to, go to the new rooms and see those and just celebrate, how wonderful it is to have that. And on November 28th, we will have a ribbon cutting for the JFK Intermediate School, and that'll be a rededication as well, because as we know, almost every square inch and foot in that building has been touched and renovated, and so there are many, many things there that are worthy of celebration.
What's coming up on the 26th of October?
We have a family university that's coming up. So we, in collaboration with the Putnam Coalition of Communities That Care and the Community Action Partnership, the family university is being organized, which gives parents and children an opportunity to come to the school. It'll be at the high school and listen to and sign up for sessions, mini sessions on a number of topics that parents would, find valuable and useful for them as they, work with their children to make sure that they, are making good choices and so forth. Ranging from topics on health to topics on, internet, safety and so forth. We have another event coming up on December 1st, and that's called the Festival of Cultures. And again, that's in collaboration with the Putnam Coalition of Communities That Care and the Community Action Partnership. And it's just an opportunity to give the community an opportunity to get together, to have some fun. So it'll be some music, food, games, and some smaller speaker sessions where people can just go in for half an hour to learn on, to get acquainted with the topic. So we're very happy to have that. I understand from the organizers that the Festival of Cultures hasn't occurred in our district for a while. So certainly given what's occurred over the last summer, we really need more of these opportunities for people to just come together,
Sure.
to get to know each other, because that's the only way we get to know each other is to have places where we can eat together, laugh together, and learn together.
Talking about learning together, laughing together, any new information with the Y?
Our Y program, we certainly are still, we are organizing that, offering programs at the middle school.
Right.
So there was some homework help that some of our parents, when we surveyed them, we asked them what kinds of things they'd like to see offered. And in working with the Y, which is, they're so flexible and collaborative, we have homework help and we have some other programs after homework help because parents really wanted that part, taken care of first.
That was such a great program.
It's a
last summer.
wonderful,
Oh.
wonderful program, and I want to thank, Bonnie Fogarty,
Yeah, it's
who's
wonderful.
the director, and, she's a great partner, and we look forward to actually creating that program in the coming summer, summer
Great.
2018. So that's happening. I also wanted to let you know that our task force met, and we're still working, and we convened with the community just to get some feedback about their things that they were concerned about, whether it's related to issues of tolerance or intolerance, bigotry, hatred. Those kinds of things that present our community in an unfavorable light. So that group shared some comments and some questions and some recommendations, and we'll be looking at all of that and bringing that back to the community.
Brewster School never sleeps.
We don't. We take our work seriously. We want to protect the wonderful things that are happening here, and that takes work, right?
24/7. So for Superintendent of Schools, Valerie Henning-Piedmont, I'm Eric Bruce. We thank you so much for joining us for this jam-packed edition of Spotlight on Brewster Schools. Frank, we thank you. John, you as well for your able assistance. Until next time, have yourselves a good one. Bye-bye now.
Goodbye.